I will fundamentally argue, since the Sharpcast is trying to go for a more casual feel, I just gave Gonzo the season 3 theme song that Ricky worked on. It has a totally different vibe from season 2.
Huh.
And that's because we are now in what is called the Trump slump, aka the post-Trump era.
Ah,
The
yes.
Trump slump.
The Trump slump.
As a result, now things must become far more formulaic with this podcast, as it were.
Very well.
Broken up into segments, a little more entertaining for broader audiences.
Gotcha! Bungamy time!
Fun, however you make this crap fun.
How will we make politics fun without Donald Trump making an ass of himself?
Not specifically.
He's still going to try to do it, but
not specifically politics, but it's like I think Ricky put it best. If you fundamentally want your message to reach more people, you have to do it in a format that would not conventionally snatch up people into politics. So, like, the Howard Stern show does this. Bill Maher with Real Talk and Politically Incorrect has done this.
Yep.
He manages to reach across the board and actually entertain people with this stuff. At the same time, Maher and Howard Stern have gone on record to talk about the importance on what an entertainer is supposed to do for society. In regards to things, American society just does not have enough hours in the day anymore to read whatever headline they please. Sure, you've got access to the internet, but where did all the time go?
Pornhub?
That's true.
Well, at least until it died, but yeah.
Pornhub's still around, though?
Yeah, it's still around, but it's like basically it's a glorified clip store now, which is basically stuff that you would have clips of videos that you'd pay for otherwise. You can't actually upload your own content to Pornhub anymore unless you're verified.
Yeah,
that kind of defeats the purpose of the website.
I know they did that preemptively, because of legislation that, as far as I'm concerned now, is dead. Because it was policy largely being proposed by Republicans who don't really have majority control anymore.
Actually, I just saw on Drudge that Utah Republicans are proposing a law that would actually make it illegal to look at porn on your phone and tablet. Which, on the one hand, it's Utah, so it's kind of par for the course. On the other hand, good luck trying to enforce that.
Good luck.
The thing I blatantly despise is
all I'm thinking now is like some guy is in his bed, ready to watch porn on his tablet. The police fucking kick down his door. Yo!
Oh God.
Mormon police.
And the problem is pornography exists in kind of this gray area with the Constitution. Technically, there are several verses where, because of how societal culture views pornography, it could be considered not covered by the Constitution. But then when we talk about freedom of expression and speech and stuff like that, we've had several arguments and fights for the fundamental claim that pornography is still the expression of something. And I know we've had several kickbacks from the porn industry itself that to crack down so hard on pornography is to make a government based more off of religion than what the Founding Fathers had intended. And
yeah.
I hate that people keep coming back to this, is the fact that the Founding Fathers apparently did have a religion, but people seem to ignore all the subtext and quotes where the Founding Fathers had said that they wanted religion and the state to be separate. And they did not want laws to be determined by religion.
Yeah, I posted that, the clip from the Jeff Downs clip from the newsroom where he talks about, it's an episode where he, in character, goes on to describe the Republicans as the American Taliban, which now kind of seems prophetic.
We've been told that America was founded as a Christian nation, and that if the Founding Fathers were here today, they'd tell us. As the government of the United States is not, in any sense, founded on the Christian religion. And here's the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. What's more frightening than the perversion of our great history is that sensible, smart, strong Republicans, the very men and women who should be standing up to radical fundamentalism, are so frightened of losing primary battles to religious zealots that they've thrown in the towel on sanity.
But he refutes specifically that this whole, because one of the things that this especially has become true with the neocon since the 80s or thereabouts, is Republicans like to claim that we're a Christian nation, that we were founded on Christian principles, and we were. Like, the founders explicitly pointed out that, listen, no, we are not a Christian nation. We are not founded on those beliefs. We are not going to make any law or whatever that explicitly defines Christian. I mean, did everyone forget that for the longest time Catholics were a persecuted group in the United States?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, Catholics.
Yeah, they were being persecuted just as hard as the Jewish communities and people of color.
Yeah, I mean, Biden's only our second Catholic president.
Yes, the black people, the Asians, even the Irish.
What I could respect is flat out, the Founding Fathers, when they wrote the Constitution, flat out said, right, if we don't make a subtext in there limiting the power of religious institutions, we're going to become like those people.
Yeah, we don't need that.
It was just like, oh no, we realize the power of religious prowess and the blatant societal influence it has. We have to fucking limit its legislative power.
Alright, there we go. Shit. I'm hoping that I can at least make through part of this without having any need to use the bathroom, because my stomach seems to be acting up, and the sooner we get started, the better.
But, and this is where I establish a fundamental loophole. On paper, yeah, absolutely. The churches, clergy, whatever it may be in the United States, does not directly control the law or the electoral system. Subtext, religious institutions have largely been responsible for voter turnout, and if they have control of the voters, they indirectly have control of the issues talked about. Same thing as media companies that literally own said news network that's supposed to be criticizing them. Probably not going to happen.
Well, we talked last week about why Republicans in Georgia are explicitly trying to make it so that no one's going to be able to do early polling on Sundays now, because we talked about how those church groups like to go from church right to those polling stations.
Yes, and there's a bit of a history about this. Keep in mind, Reconstruction period of United States was the period in which so many of federal dollars went into these states, into the hands of these black communities. And what did they use to build? They built black schools, black churches, black-owned businesses. What did they use those communities for? To act as epicenters for their communities. And what did they do to these epicenters? Teach fellow recently freed slaves how to utilize their new freedom to be better citizens.
Yeah, you know, if you're just freed from, you know, a life of servitude, you wouldn't really have a grasp on what it is, what it's like to be free. That makes sense. Also, I gotta say, I stay here because I like the fact that when I'm here, I'm the dumbest in the room.
Oh no. Oh my god.
Obviously, you have to answer that.
I'm just saying, like, that I'm the dumbest person in the room here.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And I like being the dumbest person in the room because it frees me from like getting a big head.
See, that's where these conversations would get dicey. What do you do when the person of color likes being uneducated or the dumbest person in the room?
I like being educated, which is why I'm around smart people. That's the thing.
Oh, I get
He's
it.
He's here to listen, to learn, and
See,
to grow. We
I'm
encourage
here
it.
for education.
I misinterpreted the fuck out of that.
Yeah, you sure did.
Oh yeah, sure. I love being a big dumb black man myself.
I got my interpretation coming out. Yeah, no, I cancel Sharp. I think I'm on the scale of.
Sharp Wing is over, party.
I think I'm on the scale of Shannon Osbourne now. Fuck.
Oh
That
my
was-
god!
I've been trying to figure out that.
Watching
part,
that
but-
whole interview was so painful. It was like watching Grandma finally realize that people can't put up with her shit anymore.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I don't
oh,
even.
thank God somebody summarized that. I forgot about this shit.
I don't watch the talk, and all that's been shared around were like little clippets and subtext, so I have no idea what the fuck it was that Sharon said.
It's not what she said. It's the fact that she was quick to come to Piers Morgan's defense for his racism.
Who the fuck's
Because-
Piers Morgan?
He's okay. I'll be frank. He's an asshole.
Oh, Piers Morgan, yeah.
He's an
He's a-
asshole.
He is
Piers
a serious
Morgan.
asshole that is one of the less blight stars
Look.
of Great Britain. He's pretty much
He
one of
is
the.
Bill O'Reilly.
Huh?
He is Britain's Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Oh, Bill
He,
O'Reilly. Gotcha.
Yeah, he effectively has been through several shows. He for a while he was over here on the stateside trying to keep up a show.
Oh,
with
I
CNN,
know.
but
I know about Piers Morgan.
he tried to keep.
Oh
He had a show with
yeah.
CNN.
No, I know what
it
you're
didn't
talking
have
about.
any
That
ratings.
guy.
BBC. BBC.
No, he's on
actually,
Good Morning Britain.
Lately, yeah,
Good Morning
I don't know
lately
if
he
that's
has Good
on
Morning Britain
BBC.
on ITV for a
ITV,
while.
No, wait.
yeah.
No, I'm thinking of that fucking Andrew guy that roasted Ben Shapiro.
And I asked you a question, you failed to answer a single one of mine. Frankly, I find this whole thing a waste of time. If you want to read the book and critique the book, why don't you read and critique the book? If you want to critique me, you can think whatever you want of me.
Why don't you just
frankly,
try and
I don't
answer
care.
the
I don't
questions?
frankly give a damn what you think of me since I've never heard of you.
And I've never heard of you until I briefed myself for this. But that's not the issue. You have a
Then
new
why the
book
hell are you
out,
interviewing
and
me,
it's
sir?
it's an interesting book. But my point is, your book claims that
Well, it'd be nice if you would
society-
quote it from time to time.
Your book is, well, actually, I've done so several times, and I'm about to do so again, if you would let me just finish the question.
Andrew Neil. Yeah. There we go. Bro. I gotta
Andrew
say,
Neil's
though,
well, that guy is kind of special because I've seen him a couple of times because I watch a lot of Have I Got News for You, where
that is,
he's a frequent guest on there, and one time he had to apologize because there was a pair of politicians.
Let's welcome the chocolate hot knob and custard cream of late night.
Which was deemed offensive and racist.
Yikes.
How did he think of? How the hell did he thought that would have been a good idea?
I don't.
Yeah.
I have no fucking clue. I have no
Like,
clue.
here's
Nobody
the thing.
edited it through him.
Here's the thing. If you
or-
don't know them personally, you don't. Okay, it's like one of those rules of thumb. If you don't know someone personally, you don't give someone a cute nickname. God damn.
Yeah, he had to apologize through that show because, yikes, he was called out for it. But at least he took it in stride. But yes. But anyways, back to Piers Morgan. Yeah, he did have a show on CNN for a while that didn't have much stellar ratings, so he pretty much went back to the UK, went through a couple of shows, and recently he basically was a part of Good Morning Britain on ITV when they were talking about the recent bombshell interview between Harry and Meghan, I believe, and
on
there were
Oprah.
problems with the royal family the whole interview with Oprah and Harry and Meghan, and someone brought up the fact that Piers Morgan did try to get with Meghan, but she shot him down, and that basically, I guess, opened a few old wounds, and Piers walked off and quit.
The stance that you were taking on it yesterday was so strong. I just feel that it was slightly clouded by the fact that you've had an experience with her, and actually what this is really about is the fact that you don't like Meghan Markle, and that's okay. You know what? And it's okay that Meghan Markle might not be perfect.
All that did,
it's
and let me
okay
just
that
stress
she might
again,
be a little bit difficult.
I did not know her that well. All it did was inform me that she has a bit of a streak in her where she cuts people out of her life when she moves on. That's fine. She's entitled to do that.
Yet you continue to trash her.
OK, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no. Sorry.
Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, mate, but not my
No.
See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do
This
this.
is absolutely diabolical behaviour.
Yeah, he just
Like
quit.
a bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Now, to pull back this a little bit, the whole angle with Sharon Osbourne is that Sharon Osbourne has somewhat of a friendship, professional relationship with Piers Morgan.
okay.
Now, when it was brought up by a co-host who was calling out Piers Morgan for being said little bitch and a racist for his behavior, she got on the defensive as if she was offended and was afraid that now she's going to be called a racist because she had associated with him. Which the thing is, if Sharon didn't do that, it would not have even occurred to anyone that this could have been an issue. But no, she made it a dramatic moment herself.
Yeah, this is not the same as Ellen DeGeneres being seen sat down with Bush 43. So like.
And here's the thing that makes it even more more cringy was that her co-host, the one who called her out on all of this, was sitting there painfully trying to broker a peace with her and trying to explain it to her what she meant and trying to tell her that I'm not calling you, Sharon Osbourne, a racist, but it is considered by people viewing this racist to blah 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 blah, and Sharon still got offended, and it was just
Now the talk
it was
has been
a hot
on for
mess.
about a week because of this.
I feel even like I'm about to be put in the electric chair because I have a friend who many people think is a racist, so that makes me a racist.
It is not the exact words of racism. It's the implication and the reaction to it. To not want to address that because she is a black woman and to try to dismiss it or to make it seem less than what it is, that's what makes it racist. But right now, I'm talking to a woman who I believe is my friend. And I don't want anybody here to watch this and say that we're attacking you for being racist. And for that, if I articulated
I think it's
anything,
too late.
And this is going to be very rocky because the talk has been on for quite a while now. It started with basically with Shannon, the actor who played Darlene and Roseanne. I forgot. She used to be part of CBS's morning shows, but she decided because she was dating Les Moonves, who was the CEO of CBS. And then they left.
Les fucking Moonves! I already hate this. I will never forgive how he
she
treated
departed
Howard
as soon as they dropped Les Moonves like a bad habit.
I will never
swear to God,
forgive
daytime
how he
TV
treated
is
Howard Stern.
daytime TV is so full of this catty backstabbing bullshit. People don't know.
Oh, honey, have you seen The View?
Bro,
it's always on full display.
You gotta understand. In my opinion, the counterattack with Les Moonves was Howard Stern's shining moment. because up to that point, nobody else had stood up to or taken Les Moonves to task. So just seeing Howard Stern up there with all his lawyers at a press conference, just fucking roasting this guy to hell and back, destroying his reputation in one fell swoop, felt like karmatic justice. And this had been, right, so Howard Stern had been a guy that was basically just shutting up about the whole situation, because Howard doesn't like to make enemies. Howard, being an entertainer, revolves his entire career around having as many guests as possible. So that means burning as fewest bridges as possible.
If I could, Howard's early career, well, I should say not his early career, but his career that launched him into the national stardom when he was a disc jockey and the shock jock on DC 101 in my area before, when I was just like a very little tiny kid. Way back when, was when he learned those valuable lessons about not burning bridges, because he did burn bridges with the corporate execs that ran DC 101.
You also understand, for the longest time, Howard Stern actually had a genuine friendship with Bill Maher. Up until now, his friendship with Bill Maher was terminated. Recently, they'd repaired their friendship. Bill Maher's been on Stern's thing. About a year ago, Stern was on Real Time with Bill Maher, and this was to genuinely show that Bill Maher and Howard Stern had nothing against each other anymore.
One thing I have to say about Howard Stern that I do appreciate is that Howard Stern, if you ask him a direct question about certain people, he won't pretend to like or dislike someone. He'll just say, okay, yeah, this person's an ass. Here's why.
Yeah. He's even been honest about Donald Trump. He's been more honest than certain bodies are willing to. Like, Howard Stern outright admitted that he'd gone to Mar-a-Lago with his wife, and that he'd known Trump before Trump's presidency, and he'd admitted that while he liked Trump's energy and what he brought to the show, Howard Stern did not vote for Trump. Howard Stern did not support Trump's policies. Howard Stern did not even think that Trump was a good president for the United States. He
thought he was an idiot.
He was completely transparent about that. Like, but I think something that was like really shining was on his SiriusXM show. One thing he'd fundamentally brought up is that he didn't hate Trump, because he expected Trump to do the kind of things Trump does. Trump's going to do Trump, is what he said. The people he hated more were the people who fell for it.
About 74 million people fell for it.
So that's a lot of people he can hate.
That actually thought Trump cared about them. Like,
okay. Before we get started on the show, let me see what all past weekly events we could bring up if this is not going to be making it to the main show. One of the major news stories, the Atlanta, Georgia shootings.
Yeah, so this is interesting. Yeah, this guy goes around, kills, shoots 8 people, kills 6 or 7. The majority of the victims happen to be women, and they all happen to be Asian.
And they all happen to be in massage parlors.
Okay. Yeah, so the official defense now, according to the county local sheriff, I guess, is that the guy who confessed, because they caught the guy this morning, he said that it wasn't a hate crime. He was angry at them for making him want to have sex.
They blue balled me, so I decided to end their lives.
Yeah,
that's a good fucking excuse.
What kind of incel bullshit motherfucker is this?
I don't know. I mean, so first of all, I guess it should be noting that the this is the guy who made the statement, Captain Jay Baker of Georgia's Cherokee Sheriff's Office. He made a comment that said the government responsible was quote unquote having a bad day. First of all, I've had bad days. I never wanted to kill 8 people. I guess.
Look, I've got the perfect fucking way to phrase this, right?
Yeah.
Man kills a whole bunch of women because they make pee-pee hard.
I mean, that's I'm about to say that's the line effect is going with. Anyways, it should be noted first of all that Captain Baker, I guess, posted on his Facebook page back in August.
Yeah, because like
this T-shirt he posted. Captain J Baker posted on his Facebook page linking to a T-shirt merch that said COVID-19 imported virus from China, spelled how Trump pronounces it. So make it out what you will. But honestly, what confuses me is why you would go for that defense. It's like, okay, so first of all, from the number of people that you killed alone, you're probably looking at death row. All right, just from the number of victims, if not life imprisonment. So, I don't know, is the incel defense somehow more acceptable than the hate crime defense here? Like, I just don't understand. What was it that made them go this route, that decided, like, the incel, the guy's an incel is a better defense than the guy's a racist? Because to me, they're kind of on the same level right about now.
I recall reading this story. It wasn't it wasn't involuntary celibacy, from what I understood.
Yes, that's what incel is.
The man tried to use sex addiction as the excuse. So, essentially, what the fuck?
What?
They got a word. They got a word for a sex addict. Help me out here, Gonzo.
Nymphomania?
Yeah. He essentially murdered a whole bunch of people because he was a nymphomaniac. That was his excuse.
Or, well,
man, I remember the first time a woman slept with 18 men and just slit every single one of their throats, don't you?
Yeah.
It's sad that probably actually has happened because serial killers are a thing. But
yeah, but it's not going to really fly well. I mean, yikes. The reason why you decided to grab a gun and kill a bunch of Asian women is because they didn't give you the happy ending that you expected from, like, this one politician from Florida that I remember that got in trouble because he got a happy ending in a massage parlor.
Misinterpretation here. He did it because they did.
That too. That could be it as well. It could be one of those "how dare you make me horny" kind of things. I don't know.
He said, and I quote, "They spurred on his sex addiction." So if anybody understands how addiction works, guys, he got his fix. Well, he got his rocks off. That's what he's implying.
Well,
So,
I mean,
I don't know what I'm more angry about, the fact that he's using this as his defense, or the fact that by using of this defense, he is trying to reduce his victims to nothing more than sex objects. That fuckhead.
Yeah, I mean, either way, he's gonna get the death. They're probably gonna go for the death penalty or at least life in prison. So I don't really know how this helps you in your defense. It's like I can't find a whole lot of judges going like, "Oh, you're a sex addict." Okay, well in that case,
What kind of a jury does he think this is going to be sympathetic to?
Well, I mean, it's Georgia. It is Georgia, so
it's my thing, right? And it's my thing, right? I'm not.
I thought it was going to be a jury of my peers.
Nymphomania is an issue, but I'm not a huge fan of nymphomaniacs in particular, because when it comes to top-tier objectification, nymphomaniacs do exactly that.
Nymphomania is the female term. The male term is satyriasis.
Satiriasis.
How about that? The more you know.
Point is,
it's essentially the same thing, but yeah, I get it.
Point is, when you go around sleeping with that many people, breaking that many hearts, and toying with that many emotions just for the sake of serving an addiction, that is just as toxic as a mother who takes her son's money to buy cigarettes. Like,
yeah,
it is.
You know,
it is. So, to me, right, when a sex addict just goes around just fucking everybody they please, every single person in that transaction is probably an object to that person. So there is heavy objectification going on with sex addiction. Heavy. Hard heavy.
speaking about the violence, this is probably one of the kind of unrelated, but I mean, there has been a recent rise in mostly anti-Asian kind of violence of, probably somewhat, because I often ended up hearing about how sometimes Asian people are attacked because, well, let's face it, they kind of got influenced by Trump's little fucking xenophobia against China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Biden's addressed that. Biden actually addressed that in his COVID address, saying he outright called it anti-American if you attack someone because they happen to be Asian.
Yeah, like that's not gonna fucking help with either some of the major problems that is going to rise. Like, we still have COVID. We still have fucking...
This is a situation, right? World War II, Vietnam, stuff like that. Usually when we're in times of war, or in this case, we're in a pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have always looked for a foreign body to blame, or somebody heirs from the enemy country. This is a history we've not necessarily reconciled with.
Absolutely right there. That is absolutely correct.
Japanese internment.
The Japanese internment, yeah. Most people still don't even know that.
Vietnamese American imprisonment, which was ever rarely talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we literally fucking interned people racially for the sake of an agenda. And how about the fact that when risky trade was going on, we largely blamed the Italians and the Irish. And we actually cracked down racially on those communities during Prohibition. Up until the point that we couldn't control the whiskey trade anymore. We have never reconciled with this beast. But it is a creature, a facsimile, that is unforgivable. It is, fuck it. It is ignorance, pro-hate, pro-incohesiveness, anti-worker, anti-voter, and anti-American. Even though America has done this shit, that is the equivalent of wiping your ass with the Constitution. And it has been every time. You spit on America's values, and you sit there and you wave the flag and you call yourself a patriot when you are burning this country to the ground. Fucking disgusting.
Yes, absolutely.
And to hopefully finish off this little crosstalk, so that way we can get started on the show. Some good news recently. The House votes to reauthorize and update the Violence Against Women Act. It expired 2 years ago. It was originally signed into law by President Bill Clinton in 1994, which provided, according to a quick Wikipedia summary, $1.6 billion to investigate and prosecute, towards investigation and prosecution of violent crimes against women, imposing automatic and mandatory restitutions on those convicted, and allow civil redress in case the prosecutors chose to not prosecute these kinds of cases. The vote was passed 244 to 172. 29 Republicans ended up joining all the Democrats in voting yes on the bill, which is going to be now heading to the Senate.
Well, I'm sure the Sedition Caucus will be voting against that, of course, as they are wont to do.
Every single time a conversation about investigatorial rights for female rape victims or sexual harassment, all that kind of stuff is brought up, I'm always left constantly thinking about the toxic environment, whether it be machismo or traditionalist women where a man can come out, say he was like raped, and people just laugh at him. And to me, that's always been genuinely disgusting, because I've seen that kind of behavior come from people who are against sex crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And the weird thing I find, right, is people who would hold something in common with other rape victims, regardless of gender, are essentially told that they're silencing the voices of female victims. And when I dive deep into that...
I've been told that, yes.
When I dive deep into that and fucking analyze it, I wonder, how could any male rape, molestation, or sexual harassment victim come out with a positive view for anti-sex crime measures, or in particular rape victims of the opposite sex?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's, I don't know, it just feels unproductive to me.
Yeah.
All right, want to get the main show started then?
Yep.